1 in 8 Kiwi kids are currently living in poverty. That's over 143,000. According to Variety New Zealand, 77 children are admitted to hospital every day because of where and how they sleep. Some of these pictures are confronting. Some are forced to co-sleep on the couch, the floor, and some even in drawers. Joining us now is Variety's CEO Susan Glasgow alongside Sue Stone, Variety Mum. It's lovely to have you both here. Thanks for coming in. Susan, if I can start with you, 173,000. You've been working with Variety for some time, so that number probably doesn't surprise you, but how do you feel about that many kids living in poverty?
It's harrowing. It's actually 143,700 kids. The figures from Statistics New Zealand most recently released showed that, but what it doesn't show are the children who are living in temporary accommodation or emergency accommodation, so they're not even counted in the numbers.
Yeah.
So what we know is the numbers are so much greater than what Statistics New Zealand figures prove. It's
because those are children that probably really are in the worst situations.
Utterly desperate, and those are the stories that we hear every single day at Variety. Parents and caregivers coming to us asking for help because, you know, they are in a cost of surviving crisis.
And you've got a campaign that I'm going to ask you about straight up because this is very important. Tell me about the campaign.
So we have launched a crisis appeal to try and get some of the 2,500 children who are on our sponsorship wait list sponsored by Caring New Zealanders. We've got 7,500 kids already sponsored, but you know, we have 2,500 more waiting and hoping that someone in the community will sponsor them for $50 a month and provide them with the basic essentials like the bedding that they so desperately need to keep them warm in winter, the school essentials, the stationery, the shoes, pyjamas, knickers and underpants, you know, things that kids, absolute basics that kids really need just to survive, just to thrive, just to have the things they need to be able to go to school and be alongside their peers and be like their friends.
And Sue, thank you very much for sharing your story. People may have seen you on television advertising campaigns too, but you've had some involvement with Variety, or what was your first contact with Variety?
Well, the interesting thing is, straight up, is I didn't even know about Variety. I just didn't know. I'd never really heard about them, didn't know much about them. And last year I was really struggling. I had a huge medical bill for one of my children. I have 4 children, 3 are living with me, one's too old to live with me anymore, so thank goodness. So, and I was just like, how on earth am I going to get this money? I need to get this appointment, it needs to be paid. And I was just, you run out of places to go. And you try and do everything yourself. And someone mentioned about Variety and what they may be able to help me with. And I was just like, wow. I went to the website and I was just like, wow, wow. And while I'm not sponsored, what they were able to help me with, and I'll tell you in a minute, it was really, it was so touching. I actually burst into tears.
Yeah, they helped you around Christmas time.
They helped me. I remember, like, you know, friends and family, they're all on holiday, they're having a great time, and I...
Take your time, it's okay.
Don't judge the book by the cover. Don't judge the book by the colour or the cover. I was just walking up to the letterbox on my long driveway and I remember putting the key in the letterbox and I just go, wow, gosh, not another bill. And I opened it and there was this voucher for $150. And I remember just going, wow. I mean, people can go out for dinner and they can drop $150 on appetizers, you know, cocktails and stuff. I don't do that. But what that $150 enabled me to do was just to make it go so far. I mean, it's very easy, $150 you can spend on 8 items at a supermarket. And I remember just making that $150 go so far, and my son walked home and he came home one day and he opened the fridge and he just went, Mom, there's cheese in the fridge! And I was like, cheese is really expensive.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We live in New Zealand, we're a big dairy company. Eggs is ridiculously expensive. I mean, come on, supermarkets, like, things need to change. Simple things like eggs and cheese. Come on, it doesn't need to be that much.
And it's not just help that you give with food and the basics, but giving kids opportunities, right? Because you've spoken about this. Your kids are seeing their friends go off and play sport and they're missing out, and that's something that's been really
Sport is
hurting
so
for you.
important in kids, like when they're so young and growing up. To be able to do team sports teaches them about resilience, it teaches them about respect, time management, it teaches them how to win in life, how to lose in life, how to get back up. If you don't give those children the opportunity to just participate in those sports, it does affect them later on. You know, and I remember the last couple of years, my little one, he's 7, he's like, Mum, I want to play soccer, I want to play soccer. And I'm like, how do you tell your kid year after year, I can't afford that. You know, every year this club changes, most years they change the uniform, and it's like, come on, you know, just to buy a uniform, let it go for 3 years. You know, and I remember at school last year, he went and he snuck off to the football practice at lunchtime. I got a note from the coach and he's saying, oh, look, you know, it's actually $50 to $100 per term and stuff. And I was just like, you know, and I'm trying to, like, you know, manage the funds and where is this going to come out? Of course, it's going to come out of the food bill. It's going to come out of the food bill. Yeah. There's no other avenue for it to come out of. And I remember him coming home and I heard that he'd attended, and I was like, come on, look, you know, please don't go, you know. And that's tough. That's tough, you know. He watches his children play team sports. He wants those opportunities. I want them for him. I do what I can. Look, last Sunday I went down to a car boot sale at a school, and I just said to the kids, whatever you don't fit, whatever shoes you've outgrown, let's just throw it in the car and let's just go. And I remember getting in the car and I turned that key and I looked and I went, this is the 4th day that petrol light's been on. Wow. And I was just remember praying, going, please, please, let's just make this car get to the school. Let's just, even if I have to turn that key off and just roll that last little bit down the hill. And I remember the first thing I did is I went and put petrol in the car after that, and I was able to go and then put some money aside to buy a jumper for my kid for school. And I mean, I've got 3 kids living with me. They're at 3 different schools because they're 3 different ages. They need 3 different uniforms. And I remember my 7-year-old, he put his uniform on first day of school, and he puts his T-shirt on. He's like, Mum? And I'm like, oh, what is it now? No. He's like, my head doesn't fit through the T-shirt.
Oh, no.
He's growing. Of course, he's growing. It's like, it's just those, okay, so we need another T-shirt. And I'm like, well, let's just cut the collar a little bit and just fit your head through. Oh, we do what we can do. I mean, I know it's tough for like two parents living in one house bringing up children. Try being one. Yeah.
Well, so you are an incredible mother, I can tell from the way you're talking. And Susan, you must be so proud of Sue too, coming in and sharing that story. Susan, can you just quickly tell us how people can contribute?
Absolutely. So you can go straight to the website, variety.org.nz, and sponsor a Kiwi kid for $50 a month. You know, the price of 6 lattes, you can transform a child's life.
Thank you very much. That was Sue Stone, Variety Mum, and Susan Glasgow, Variety's CEO. Also tomorrow night around 8 p.m, the Auckland Sky Tower will be lit up red in support of Variety's crisis appeal.